Hey guys, this is our section on straight chain alkanes. The next section will be on naming branched alkanes. These are a lot easier because all you need to do is memorize them. So there's only 10 that you're going to need to memorize, so let's go through them. Okay, so there are a couple different parts to this lecture, but I want to start out by talking about what an alkane is. There's a big difference between alkanes and alkenes, so make sure that you keep them separate as we go through this chapter. Ethane is one of the more simple alkanes. Simple alkanes are basically carbons with the right number of hydrogens attached to them to make them happy. If you remember, carbon has to have 4 things bonded to it in order to be happy. So for example, this carbon has another carbon and 3 hydrogens, so it's happy. This carbon, same thing, 1 carbon, 3 hydrogens. So it has everything that it needs. Simple alkanes are always saturated, which means that the carbon has 4 single bonds. It's bonded to 4 different things, but only one time. So there's none of this repeating like carbon to carbon bond. There's no triple bonds. And alkanes are always hydrocarbons, which means that the only elements involved are hydrogen and carbon. So what we're going to learn in this chapter is how to name these things. And so the 3 main simple alkanes you need to be familiar with are ethane, propane, and butane. Ethane has 2 carbons and then 6 hydrogens. Propane has 3 carbons and 8 hydrogens. And butane has 4 carbons and 10 hydrogens. Okay, so methane is the other one that you need to be familiar with. Methane is CH4, so C and then 4 H's. Okay, so for each of these, as we go on down the list, remember ethane has 2 carbons, propane has 3, butane has 4, and then after that we start using our prefixes to count. So methane has 1, ethane has 2, propane has 3, butane has 4, pentane has 5, hexane has 6, heptane has 7, octane has 8, nonane has 9, and decane has 10. So remember, this is the number of carbon atoms in the molecule. So in order to figure out how many hydrogens each thing has, all you need to know is the number of carbons. This is the formula that you would use to find the number of hydrogens in a formula. So here's what I mean when I say you can use the formula for this. And I'm sorry, this video lesson got chopped up into a bunch of different videos because my paper kept getting too full. So anyways, let's take something like pentane, for example. So just from this name, pentane, you know that it has 5 carbons. So if it has 5 carbons and I go to plug it into this formula, the N is equal to the number of carbons. So that would mean I have C5 and then H 2 times the number of carbons, so 2 times 5 plus 2. So that means that my formula for pentane would be C5H12. Because I did 5 times 2, that's 10 plus 2 gives me 12. And when I draw this molecule out, if I have a straight chain alkane, I know that it's going to be pretty consistent like this. So if it's a straight chain alkane, I need to add the right number of hydrogens to make everybody happy. Happy hydrogens. So satisfying when you get all your hydrogens filled in. You know what I mean? Okay, so then I'm just going to double check myself and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I knew that I had 5 carbons because the name is pentane. So let's count my hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that makes sense with the formula that I found. Let's try another one. Let's do butane. So butane has 4 carbons. That never changes. You can reference your chart if you aren't sure. Butane has 4 carbons, which means I'm going to put the blank formula up here real quick. Oops. Okay, so this is my blank formula. I have 4 carbons, so I'm going to make it C4H 2 times 4 plus 2. And you always want to double check yourself on this because there's a lot of places that you can go wrong in here, believe it or not. So C, 4 carbons. And you guys should remember this a little bit from what we did earlier in the semester with hydrocarbons. So I'm going to make this 8, which means that it's C4H 8 plus 2 is 10 for my formula. So let's double check this. 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hydrogens. Perfect. So that's how you know you did it correctly.